In this video, we're talking about the exterior angle theorem. The exterior angle theorem states that the sum of two remote or non-adjacent angles of a triangle is equal to the measure of the exterior angle. Okay, thus remote plus remote equals exterior. So we have this example here that's fully worked out for us, and we see when we mean by non-adjacent is that we do not want to count angle C here, or angle ABC, or ACB, excuse me. Okay, this is the adjacent angle to X, because if we have these two angles right here, let's call this guy Y just for now. If we have Y and X, then I can say that that's a linear pair, and my setup is Y plus X equals 180, or part plus part equals 180. But if I don't have Y and I have a triangle, well then I can say that the angles far away from X, so angle A and angle B, are my remote angles. And if I have two remote angles and an exterior angle, like X, then I can use this setup of remote plus remote equals exterior. So the rest of the problem is worked out. We plug stuff in. So let's do the example below. In the example below, I see that I have an exterior angle and I have two remote angles like so. So my setup is going to be remote plus remote equals exterior. So when I plug stuff in, I then have an algebra problem that I can solve. So I subtract 24 from both sides, and I end up with X equals 59 degrees. And it's that simple. We have a couple more examples here. So if we look here, on this problem, I'm still solving for X. Once again, I see that I have an exterior angle. There's no angle next to it, so the two angles here are my remote angles. Notice how I'm using different colors to identify the different parts. Okay, and I plug stuff in. I have 28 plus 10 plus 6x is equal to 10x minus 10. I then do the process of combining like terms. I have a positive 10, positive 28, so that's 38 plus 6x is equal to 10x minus 10. I now need to pick a side for x to be on to do my algebra. So I'm going to say all of my x's will go on to the left and everything else will go on the right. So when I do that, I see that I have a 38. That's not an x piece, so I have to move it by doing the opposite. I subtract 38 from both sides. I'm left with 6x is equal to 10x minus 48, because two negatives, we add. Okay. I now see that I have a 10x on the everything else side, so I need to move that by subtracting 10x from both sides. I'm left with negative 4x is equal to negative 48. Now I can see that nothing else needs to move, so I divide by the coefficient in front of x, or multiply by the coefficient in front of x, depending. In this case, it's divide. So I'm left with x is equal to a positive 12. Okay. Two more examples. Once again, an exterior angle, no angle next to it, so these are my remote angles. I'm just going to call them R for now and call this EXT. Once again, we have R plus R, remote plus remote equals exterior. I then plug in my parts. I have 62 plus 8x minus 9 is equal to 13x plus 3. And once again, I combine my like terms. I have a negative 9 and a 62, which should be 53 plus 8x is equal to 13x plus 3. This time I'm going to put my x's on the right because I noticed that 13 is bigger than 8. I don't want to have to divide by a negative again. So when I do that, I need to move this 8x over, so subtract 8x. I'm left with 53 is equal to 5x plus 3. I subtract 3 from both sides, and I'm left with 50 is equal to 5x. I no longer need to move anything, so I divide both sides by 5. And I'm left with x equals 10. However, it asked me to find SDE, so I'm not done yet. I have to find SDE, and if you remember, we put our finger on S, we go to D, and we go to E, and then we see what is our scoop, or what we circled, and we circled 13x plus 3. So the value of angle SDE is equal to 13x plus 3. I'm going to replace x with 10, so 13 times 10 plus 3 will equal angle SDE, and I get 130 plus 3, which is equal to 133 degrees. Like so. Okay. Our last example, once again, we see that we have an exterior angle. We see that we have two remote angles. So we have r plus r equals ext. So I have 23x plus 1 plus 9x plus 3 equals 100. I combine like terms. I have a positive 23x, a positive 9x for a positive 32x. I have a positive 1 and a positive 3, so positive 4. And that's all equal to 100. So now I do my algebra. I see all my x's are already on one side, so I'm going to make my x's on the left. So I need to subtract 4 from both sides. And I see that I have 32x is equal to 96. I can now divide both sides by 32, so that x is equal to 3. However, it asks for QRS, so I put my pen on Q, go to R, go to S, and we see that that is going to be the 23x plus 1. So angle QRS, value of angle QRS is equal to 23x plus 1. We're going to replace x with what we got. So 23, the x is now replaced, so 23 times 3 plus 1. When I do that, I end up with 23 times 3, which is 69 plus 1, or 70 degrees. And that's how we do an exterior angle using two remote angles inside the triangle. Okay? Remember, if I have the angle next to the exterior, like we had in our first example, that is a linear pair, and I do part plus part equals 180.